I grew up in the shadow of someone else's sun, but my college graduation lit a truth they couldn't ignore. Hey, I'm Noah Bennett, 24, and my college graduation wasn't just a degree, it was my quiet revenge. Standing next to my cousin Caleb in our Crestview University caps and gowns should have been a proud moment, but years of being treated as less than fueled my fire. I still hear my aunt's words from that night. "He's our priority, Noah, you'll manage." The day they chose Caleb's future over mine cut deep. Before I share what left their faces frozen at our ceremony, drop your location in the comments and hit like if you've ever had to claw your way up while others coasted. I lost my parents in a car accident at 5, a blur of grief I barely recall. My Aunt Linda and Uncle Mark, my mom's sister and her husband, took me in, raising me in their tidy suburban Michigan home, all white siding and fake cheer. They were solid folks. Mark managed a car dealership. Linda taught elementary school. But their love had limits, and I wasn't their son. Caleb, 2 years younger, was their world. With his quick grin, decent grades, and soccer knack. I was the orphan kid, grateful for a roof but never quite family. Christmases spelled it out. Caleb got shiny bikes or new Nikes. I got his worn-out hoodies or dollar store notebooks. "Caleb's growing fast, Noah. His old stuff's fine for you," Linda would say, brushing off my quiet hurt. By 7, I knew my place but swallowed the sting. Family life showed their tilt. They'd ditch work for Caleb's soccer matches, waving banners. For my science fairs, I'd be lucky if Mark grunted a good job over dinner. "Science is niche, Noah. Caleb's got real potential," he'd say. My grandpa George, Linda's dad, was my haven. Summers at his up-north cabin, we'd rebuild old boat motors, and he'd tell me, "You've got steel in you, Noah. Don't let anyone bend it." His attic held books on inventors who started from nothing, sparking dreams of building my own path. High school made me hard. I joined tech clubs, crushed coding, and took first in a state hackathon as a freshman. My teacher, Mr. Walsh, emailed Linda and Mark to praise me. "Nice work," Linda replied, then asked if I'd prepped Caleb for his algebra quiz. I worked 15 hours a week at a phone repair shop, keeping a 4.0. Caleb, the soccer captain, got new cleats and pizza nights for goals. Senior year, we both aimed for Crestview University, top for tech and engineering. Caleb, bumped up a grade, was in my class. We both got in, me to computer science, him to engineering. I was stoked, clutching my letter. At dinner, I shared, but Caleb's acceptance stole the show. Linda hugged him, Mark cracked beers. My moment fizzled. 2 weeks later, the knife twisted. Over meatloaf, Mark said, "We've saved for Caleb's Crestview tuition since he was little. It's steep, but he'll graduate debt-free." I waited, then asked, "What about me?" Silence. Linda fidgeted. "Noah, we've stretched thin raising you. Caleb's our son, a priority." Mark added, "You're scrappy. Loans or community college will do." Then the blow. "He's our priority. You'll manage." It wasn't just money, it was my worth. Years of hand-me-downs and second place hadn't braced me for this. In my attic bedroom, grief for my parents mixed with rage. My grades, my hustle, my Crestview letter, none of it mattered. I was still the outsider. Next morning I pushed back. "I've earned my spot. Why's Caleb first?" Linda sighed. "We've given you a home, Noah. Caleb's our responsibility." Mark snapped. "Your side gigs prove you're fine. Tech's shaky, Caleb's path is steady." I muttered, "You don't know my plans." They offered loan forms, their minds set. I was lesser. That weekend I biked to Grandpa George's cabin. Spilling my heart, he hugged me. "They're wrong, Noah. You're tougher than their doubts. Build your own way." His belief, not cash, lit my fuse. I'd hit Crestview, fund it solo, and prove them wrong. I scoured for scholarships, grants, and loans. My counselor, Mrs. Kim, stayed late tweaking applications. I grabbed small scholarships, federal loans, and a private one Grandpa co-signed. I rented a cramped apartment an hour from campus with 2 roommates, while Caleb got a plush dorm bankrolled. I landed 2 jobs, days at a PC repair shop, nights at a gas station. Linda and Mark bought Caleb a laptop and wardrobe, throwing him a send-off barbecue. I stuffed my rusty Corolla with thrift store crates. Linda handed me Caleb's old blanket, her only nod to my start. On move-in day, they drove Caleb to campus. I limped behind, car overheating. Linda called, "Good luck, Noah," her tone thin, stealing my resolve. My apartment was a dive, moldy walls, loud neighbors, but I made do. Grandpa's text, "Gold's refined in fire, Noah, you're shining," kept me grounded. I built a grueling schedule. 5 a.m. coding drills, repair shop, classes, gas station, then assignments until 2 a.m. Sleep was scarce. Caleb's Instagram flaunted dorm parties and spring break trips while I rationed groceries. But computer science sparked me. My repair job sharpened my coding edge. Professor Ruiz, my systems teacher, praised my app prototype. "Your real-world grind shows, Noah." My struggle fueled my skill. My roommate Dylan became a rock. Noticing my pace, he left sandwiches saying, "You're a machine, but machines need fuel." When I shared my story, he was mad. "Your aunt and uncle suck. I'm your family now." He tested my code, quizzed me for exams, and split diner runs when I was tapped. Sophomore year, the repair shop cut shifts, tanking my income. I hit up Ms. Grant at Financial Aid, who scored an emergency grant and a research assistant role with Professor Ruiz, paying better. Studying tech scalability, I soared. Ruiz asked, "Startup dreams? You're wired for it." That planted a seed. Using class projects, I started a freelance cybersecurity service for small businesses, coding a site after hours. By junior year, it covered rent, letting me drop the gas station. I kept Ruiz's research for mentorship. My firm grew. I hired 2 classmates part-time, turning lessons into cash. I made Dean's List every semester, won coding awards, and keynoted a tech expo. Caleb and I stayed polite, but apart. He'd ping about tailgates I skipped. We dodged family drama. Linda and Mark Skyped him daily, me only on birthdays. Linda's Thanksgiving text, "Miss you, busy with shifts," screamed indifference. Senior year, my cybersecurity firm served 12 clients, employing 4 students. A Grand Rapids tech zine profiled me, sparking contracts. Professor Ruiz pushed me for the National Collegiate Tech Innovation Competition. I honed my pitch, winning $50,000 and industry hype. Crestview's paper front-paged my win. I sent it to Grandpa George, who called, voice thick, "You're a force, Noah." Linda and Mark? Silence. Caleb hit a wall, botching his engineering thesis. He knocked on my door, panicked. "I'm failing, Noah. I won't graduate." Old wounds ached, but I guided him, sharing research hacks. We talked deep. "How do you do it?" he asked. I laid it out. 70-hour weeks, empty fridge, relentless stress. He was shook. "Aunt Linda said you were set." I shrugged. Would they have noticed? That broke our ice. Caleb started dodging their handouts, wanting to earn his keep. In February, Dean Foster called. "Your story's unreal, Noah. Speak at graduation." I was floored, saying yes. Secretly, Foster planned more. In April, I won the competition, cementing my name. Days before graduation, Linda and Mark arrived, renting a big house for Caleb's party. I got a late invite, a footnote. "We assumed you're slammed with work," Linda said. The slight barely fazed me. I'd outgrown their validation. Grandpa George showed up, gifting a custom sash, iron forged in flame. "Wear it fierce, kid," he said, eyes misty. At rehearsal, Dean Foster teased surprises. "Your speech kicks off something big. Get ready." That night, at their upscale restaurant dinner, Linda and Mark gushed about Caleb's engineering grad school. Uncle Steve cut in, "What about Noah's tech prize?" Mark brushed it off. "Noah's got his hobbies. Real go-getter." Caleb cringed. Grandpa George lit into them privately, their stiff postures showing heat. Back home, I was steady. Tomorrow, I'd own my stage. Graduation dawned bright. I geared up, crisp shirt, shined shoes, Grandpa's sash, carrying 4 years' grind. Caleb texted, "Stoked to march with you, cuz." Our rift had healed into respect. Crestview's campus hummed with families. Caleb's dark hair stood out in the robing area. He bear-hugged me. "We did it, man. You're a beast." We lined up close in the alphabetical march. Dean Foster confirmed, "Post degrees, you're up, with extras." My gut buzzed. In the auditorium, thousands packed the seats. Linda and Mark, front row. Mark in a tie, Linda in a bold scarf, beamed at Caleb. Grandpa George, sharp in navy, locked eyes with me, nodding proud. The ceremony slogged through speeches. Degrees done, I crossed the stage to cheers, catching Caleb's grin. President Hayes took the mic. "Now, special honors. Noah Bennett, Computer Science, for the student address." I hit the stage, seeing Linda and Mark's shock. They hadn't clocked me for this. I spoke. 4 years ago, I came to Crestview with grit alone. I worked 30 hours a week, built a business hiring peers, and graduated with honors. Hardship showed me limits are just challenges. Without naming them, I hit their dismissal. Being overlooked builds a fire nothing can douse. The crowd roared. Hayes returned. Noah's our valedictorian, with a 4.0, running a 6-figure tech firm. He won the National Tech Innovation Competition, all self-funded, no family backing. Murmurs spread. Linda and Mark paled, their bias laid bare. He's joining CyberPeak Solutions, and he's Tech Vanguard's next cover star. Applause erupted. We're launching the Noah Bennett Resilience Scholarship for students beating odds in his name. A standing ovation thundered. Caleb whooped, eyes wet. Grandpa George glowed. Linda and Mark sat stunned as eyes judged them. After, they stood awkwardly as profs and classmates swarmed me. Mark tried. "Big surprise Noah kept that under wraps," I said. "I've been this guy, you didn't see." Caleb backed me. "Noah did this solo while I got the red carpet, you picked wrong." Linda flinched. Uncle Steve pressed, "No help at all?" Grandpa snapped, "I'm with Noah's real crew, those who believed." He, Caleb, and I headed to the tech department's bash, hosted by Professor Ruiz. My roommate Dylan, Dean Foster, and CyberPeak execs raised glasses. Caleb said, "They blew it, Noah." Later, Linda texted about dinner. I showed Grandpa and Caleb. "Bit late," Grandpa huffed. Caleb joined us for a cabin getaway, our chosen family. At CyberPeak, my firm soared, and I funded a Crestview scholarship for hustlers like me. A year on, Linda and Mark sought lunch, admitting, "We favored Caleb, thinking he was the sure thing. We hurt you." I allowed a cautious rebuild, but my worth stood firm. Helping a support group kid like me, I saw my win. A life beyond their doubts, built by me.